Welcome to Scorched and a general monthly reading for the sign of Gemini, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of March. I hope you're well. Using the Crow Tarot for you today, which is good. I get a really good feeling off this one, actually. Got a generally really good feeling altogether for you. Just off the back of the meditation, there was nothing specific that came through, but I feel a low-level excitement about something, which is quite interesting, and we'll get into that and see what that's about. If the video resonates with you, if the messages that come through here are something that speak to you and you want to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended, and that's at the end of the reading over on Vimeo. If you have a look down in the description box, there's a link down there that will take you to that. And if you're interested in the 6-month overview from January to June 2021, that's still available on Vimeo too, and the links are also in the description box. So with all of that said, Gemini, let's get on with this, because I'm intrigued to know what this feeling is. I kind of want to bop in my chair. Some cards for Gemini, please. Ooh. Well, all right, well, we've got 3 come out all at once. We have the King of Wands in the reverse in your current energy, not in your current energy, sorry, in your recent past. But we have here the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles in your current energy, and I quite like that for you. Let's get one more for, okay, we'll get 2 more. Gemini, that explains the feeling. We have the Wheel of Fortune and we have the Fool. I like this for you very, very much, right? There was something like, I was just kind of bopping in my seat. There's something exciting coming in for you, for sure. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the High Priestess, followed by the Magician, which for me is a card of Gemini. What an incredible combination that is. That for me is the real power couple in the major arcana, not the Emperor and Empress, although obviously they are. But when it comes to true witchery, that's the combination for me. Oh, I love this very much. So let's get some clarifiers. Let's see which deck wants to clarify. I thought it was the Lost Forest, even before I had a look. So let's have a see. I've got a tune by Faith and Amor going through my head. I can't even remember what it's called, but it's got Mike Patton going, "Good fortune is smiling upon you," and that's exactly how I'm feeling for you for March. So let's have a look at this King of Wands. Why is the King of Wands here, please? Good. We have the Hierophant in reverse and we have the 2 of Cups. That's an interesting combination. Okay, Ace of Swords and Knight of Pentacles. That's the one. What's that? It's the Chariot. Card of Cancer in the major arcana. We've got the 5 of Swords. And we have the World. This is shaping up to be quite the reading, Gemini. Good Lord. Right. And why is the Wheel of Fortune, excuse me, and the Fool here, please? Thank you. We have the 5 of Cups in reverse. 10 of Cups fell to the right. I'm going to show it to you, but I'm going to put it back in the deck. And the Fortune and the Fool. We have the Devil in reverse. And one more, because we've got 2 cards. We've got the 7 of Cups. That's interesting. We've got the Knight of Cups at the bottom of this deck. That's Pisces energy. To match with the Pisces energy that we have here with the High Priestess. What an intriguing reading. And one that feels really deeply transformative. Right? That's how this month feels to me for you. Right? So the very first card that you've got in your recent past is this King of Wands. Now, we know this is the Leo card here, right? It's the very active masculine expression of, like the pinnacle of the wand suit energy, which is all about living and experience, right? It's very bold, it's courageous, it is dynamic, it's quite sexy, actually. Very confident, high self-esteem. And empowered is the word, right? That's the word that I feel about this. Very, very empowered, except that it came out in the reverse for you. And so it feels like recently there has been somewhat of a state of confusion is what I want to say. But not like, oh God, I don't know what day it is or anything like that. Just more like you have ideas, you know you have the skills, but what you're lacking is a direction or a sense of motivation or something. There's just something a little bit lacking from the picture here. And perhaps it's not exactly confusion, it's more like a not really understanding how you make something happen, right? That's how it feels to me. Now, the really important thing about this is that we've got this Hierophant in reverse here. Now, that's the card of Taurus. And notice that both of these cards have come out in reverse. And the thing that came through very, very clearly as soon as I saw those two cards together was that the reason that you've been struggling to a degree is because you've been trying to do things the way that everybody else does them, right? It's interesting how this is coming through, because it's actually very similar to a personal reading I did today. There's the Hierophant represents those things that are done because they have always been done that way, right? It represents structure and order, and it's very masculine energy, and it's quite rigid. But this Hierophant is, well, it's creepy as fuck. I'm not going to mess about here, right? We've got two skulls buried in the tree here. Well, actually, they're full skeletons. I'm not sure if the camera will pick them up, but you've got one on the branch of the tree just there, and there's another one right here in the trunk. Okay? It represents things being done a particular way, right? It can represent on a broader scale something like society or something like that, you know, societal institutions, that kind of thing. It's big creaking edifices that don't move very fast, they don't change, they don't adapt. It's very rigid. It's the way that everybody does everything. And I feel like you trying to do things the way that everybody else has done them has not been working out for you, Gemini. No? Because if that is stability and predictability, what it is that you've needed is to be able to, oh gosh, it links in right with this, with the other reading that I did for you about the deep well of creative chaos that you were getting access to, right? The fact that this is in your recent past makes me think that you kind of cracked this anyway. Rather than going without, in so much as looking at how everybody else is doing it and going, right, I'm going to structure the thing that I do this way, you know, as a, you know, as a smaller version of a cog in a machine, you know, it's just going to kind of copy what the big ones are doing up here. I'm going to do it this way. It's not working for you because it's never meant to be what it is that you're doing. And I shall come on to why in a second, because there's a very clear reason why. But it's ended up leaving you feeling a little bit disempowered, leaving you being a little bit frustrated, a little bit like you're not able to action the plans, the ideas, the things that you've got. You know, the King of Wands is an entrepreneur. He's like, if the King of Pentacles is like the CEO who has lots and lots of people working for him, then the King of Wands is the sole trader. He's the self-made man who's done it all under his own drive and motivation, you know. But we have with this the Two of Cups, and I'd like to pull another card for that. Tell me about the Two of Cups, please. Aha. The Two of Cups has got two fish on it now, and it's interesting because an Aries friend of mine was referred to this recently, how yin and yang isn't a static symbol. It's never supposed to be a static symbol, right? You've got the white, which is the yang on one side, and it has a tiny black dot in it, and then on the other side you have the yin, which is the, you know, the feminine. It has a little white dot in it. It's all about things being in balance and in motion. But the thing is quite often depicted as fish because it's about that kind of bit of everything. And the card that came out was the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Now, that way, it talks about reciprocity, it talks about balance, it can sometimes talk about charity, actually. But I feel like perhaps a conversation that you've had with someone has drawn to your attention the fact that in order for you to succeed, it really has to be done it needs to be done authentically as you, right? Not what everybody else is doing. There's almost a kind of flipping of expectations, your own as much as everybody else's, because I don't think that you quite saw this coming. Tell me about this Two of Cups, please. I'm taking all of those. Tell me about the Two of Cups, please. Thank you. Yeah, we've got the Eight of Swords, but it's come out in reverse. And I like this because this whole thing is actually quite a fluid situation. I've got that, like, it has happened and you are working your way through it. But where it was unstable, where it was that you really didn't find your root in something, it's because you were trying to do it like other people, right? Because you were trapped in your own mind about it. But as you have expanded the way that you think about it, as you have rejected what is the norm in the way that you do things, and, you know, opened your eyes to what it was that you were seeing but not seeing, or you knew but didn't see properly, possibly because there might have been an element of doubt in what it is that you were doing, a little bit of self-doubt, perhaps a touch of, you know, self-sabotage, something like that. You've kind of broken out of this mental cage that you've been in. You see the situation as a little bit more fluid now, and you see that it requires all of you to make it work. And I'm using that phrase specifically because that's what I heard, and while I don't quite understand it as much as everything else here, it is for somebody, right? So we move into your current energy, and what we've got is the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, and I really, really love this because this is the breakthrough. This is the insight. This is the, you know, the flash of inspiration that's come from, you know, wherever it's come from. Combined with the Knight of Pentacles, that is a steady, diligent Virgo energy that takes no shortcuts, right? It's slow, measured progression, but it's going in the right direction, and it's keeping, you know, what is the most precious thing, which is this pentacle that the crow's got in its mouth there, keeping it safe, right? This is an idea, yes, but it's also you, right? It's also the value that you bring to this idea that you have moving forward. Because this can be the truth, or it can be, like I said, those insights. It can be the inspiration, a flash of something from somewhere, an epiphany almost. And the epiphany that you've had, and this is why I see you having been so trapped before, is that you actually have to carve your own path with this, right? Where you are going is a road that is untrodden, actually, it feels to me. There might have been one or two people there before, but it's certainly not the main thoroughfare, right? This is kind of, it involves a bit of a wandering off in what feels like it's potentially a bit of a diversion, except that it's not, right? Your particular skill set lends itself very nicely to a new road, a new path. And it's this Gemini mental restlessness, right, which so often, you know, you find very difficult, that is actually helping you out here. Because although the urge for the creativity is there, there's been no way to action it. So it's like nothing's quite got off the ground in the way that it was supposed to be. When you pull it back to yourself, and when you understand that you are the thing, it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it specifically that stands out, that makes the difference. That's the epiphany, right? This is where the movement is happening. We've got the Five of Swords here, and that just often talks to me about cognitive loops, right? It's those ways in which we think, where we get stuck on something. And sometimes, do you know what? The answer is staring us right in the face, but we're so close to it, like it's literally bouncing off the end of our nose. We can't focus on it. And it's kind of like requiring you to pull back from it a little bit and see the bigger picture. Because there is a bigger picture here, Gemini, and you are playing a part in it, whether you're aware of it or not. I just really do think that you've been too close to it to see. And particularly with regard to how you establish yourself and what it is that you bring to whatever it is that you're doing. And this could be jobs, for sure, it could be jobs. But I think for the most part, I'm talking to the Geminis who have heard the call, right? And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about, right? Because it does seem to be specifically Geminis that are hearing that, coming in and being like, I have got things I need to do. But we have an end to the doubt. We have an end to the self-sabotage. We have an end to the ways in which you limited yourself before. And this feels very important because the Chariot is absolutely a card of empowerment. Notice that, you know, we've got 2 decks here and both of them are depicting lions on them, right? Initially you were disempowered when you were trying to do things the way that they'd always been done, the way that other people did them. And now we have you sitting on the back of your lion going, fuck this, I'm doing my own thing, right? What feels like a deviation to you, what feels like it could be potentially frustratingly slow, won't remain that way for long. And actually, I don't get a sense of you being too frustrated with it, because it's almost like now you've cracked it, now you see it. It's about just summoning up the bravery to be able to go out there and do it. And you're going to do that. You know you're going to do that, Gemini, right? You can't not do it. It's the way it feels here. But the world is bringing a completion to that which has held you back before. And when I say held you back, I don't mean, you know, oh, you've got, you know, terrible shadow things that are causing you to be reactive instead of, you know, active and stuff like that. I actually don't feel like that's the case here for you in this circumstance. It is more having the faith in your own abilities. Having the courage of your own authenticity and originality, right? Yeah, it might be a little bit out there. It might be a little bit different to the way everybody else is doing it, but you know what? That's why it will work, you know? It's a way of distinguishing yourself from the herd. And that's quite important, I feel, moving forwards. So then we come to March and what March is bringing for you, and my God, we have the Wheel of Fortune and we have the Fool. Now, the Wheel of Fortune for me, I often interpret as a teaching moment, right? It indicates, yes, you know, an improvement of fortunes. But like I said, that doesn't usually happen in a vacuum. You know, it's not the universe dropping something good in your lap because they've decided that you've struggled quite enough. Here's a lottery win or something like that. It's not how this works. How it works is, you know, you have revelations about yourself, you do something that is, you know, courageous and brave for you, and the universe goes, oh, look at the change in vibration there, that's interesting. Well, let's throw something a little more in alignment their way, right? That's why the fortunes seem to improve. It's often a case of perspective more than anything else. The Wheel of Fortune is ruled by Jupiter, and I don't know what Jupiter's doing in the sky at the moment, but I feel like it might be doing something. I certainly know it's not in retrograde, which is a nice thing. So currently in this period, we've got all planets are direct at the moment, which is nice. But Jupiter rules this card and Sagittarius rules Jupiter, so there's an element of luck, there's an element of fortune at play here, and it feels quite strong. Like serendipity is very much the watchword for this reading, right? Because we've got the Fool here. Now notice how we went from the World to the Fool via the Wheel of Fortune. That's nice. We like that. Gosh, I could do with a bit of that myself. You're about to start on a new path, and I don't think it's quite in the way that you expected to go. Right? Up until recently, you were trying to do things the way that everybody else did them, but now you're kind of thinking about things differently, and you're like, well, maybe I'll just do it my way. The message is you absolutely should be doing it your way, and there will be something coming in to assist you with this. But I think that the diversionary path that you're taking, or so it feels to you at this moment, might actually deviate a little bit more before you get entirely where you're going. And the interesting thing is these clarifiers that we've got under here, because we've got the Five of Cups in reverse, and that talks about, actually it talks about that act of stepping back from something. In the upright, this card depicts usually one man and he's staring at 3 cups and he's got 2 behind him, right? And the 3 cups have fallen over. What they contained is now spilled on the ground, and he's got this black cloak on, and he's looking very mournfully at the cups that are gone, and he's not paying attention to the 2 that are behind him. Right? And that's how we get to loss, grief, bereavement, focusing on that which you have lost rather than paying attention to what you already have. The thing is, with it being in the upright, in the reverse, beg your pardon, I see that as stepping back from the cups altogether so that you can perceive that not only are there 3 there that have spilled, but there are 2 here that are still upright and they still contain the important things. It's that stepping back, the pulling back from the micro and seeing the bigger picture. And I feel that's what you're doing. You're seeing the bigger picture. And maybe you're perceiving that actually you do have 2 cups. You have skills. You have something very useful. You may not be able to do it the way that somebody else is doing it, but actually I don't think you're supposed to do it that way, right? So rather than focusing on the loss, as you are able to step back and perceive things, now you see what you can do, right? And that feels incredible. The card that comes after it is the card of Capricorn. It is the Devil. That's amazing too, because this way up it talks about toxicity, it talks about dependence, codependence, abuse, substance abuse, fear, ultimately. And I do think the only thing that's been holding you back all of this time, it was sort of fear, but sort of not. It was kind of stepping back from the system, right? However this applies to you. Stepping back from the system and seeing that actually the system itself is a bit shit, and the way that perhaps other people do things isn't really the right way to do them anyway. We've got this big fucking motorway and there's lots of traffic on there. There's lots of people doing perhaps the sort of thing that you would like to do. And are you going to get in a car and get on there, right? Because the chances are you're not going to get to where you want to go, and you're certainly not going to go fast. And who's going to notice your car in all of that? I don't know where I'm going with this metaphor, but bear with me, right? That which feels like a massive deviation to you, right? It actually isn't. I think that you're going to get there faster. I think that you're going to get seen in a way that you actually are looking, you're courting that kind of attention at the moment because you want people to see what it is that you have to bring here, what it is you're trying to do. The Devil here doesn't represent fear exactly in any greater sense than just the fear of doing something a little bit different to the way that everybody else has done it. And it doesn't feel like it's, like throat-seasoningly terrifying to you. It's just a little bit, I don't even know if this is going to work. This is a little bit out there. It's a little, out of left field. Do I have the confidence to do this? Well, the Devil in reverse says, yes, I believe that you do. Now, we've got the 7 of Cups there, and that's quite interesting because that often talks about illusion. Sometimes emotional confusion. Tell me about the 7 of Cups. Why are you here? Ace of Wands. And the 3 of Wands. Yeah, here's the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Notice how he is in the upright. Now you are ready to go springing off on some sort of new adventure for sure. But look at all these wands. We've got the Ace of Wands, which is, it's coincidentally the wand that the king would be wielding here, right? So not only do you have this creativity, this innovative thinking about something, and it's innovative because it's so creative, right? You've got the Ace of Swords here already, and you've got the Ace of Wands, right? And you're passionate about it because it's what you know, right? It's like, don't try and mold yourself to fit everybody else, because it's not what this is about, right? This is about really being confident in you and what you can do. And how important what it is that you're doing actually really is too. Because from the Ace, we're skipping straight to the 3. right? There's no need for you to kind of sit around and ruminate and cogitate about whether this is the right thing to do. Right? This is action right here. This is the potential, and this is going straight to making it happen. And I feel like it's because you've actually already known for quite a long time what it is that you're doing. It's just been there's that low level fear that maybe it's a little bit too, you know, too different to everybody else. So all of these cards here say to me that it's absolutely not the case, and that any notion that it is the case has actually been you kind of pulling the wool over your eyes a little bit, because you were a little bit afraid about sticking your head above the parapet in such a visible way. But we've got the Nine of Pentacles here, self-sufficiency, independence for sure, but she's not concerned in the slightest, right? She's doing what is right for her. She's taking care of her business very much, and managing her own resources and doing her own thing, right? You know, I love this card, but for me, like the true symbol of independence is right at the bottom. Now, I don't know if the camera can pick it up there, but that's actually a snail. There's a snail right at the bottom of the card. What does the snail need but itself? It carries its house literally on its back. You are carrying all the tools that you need. You've built them up all of this time, and your unique perspective, this like Gemini restless mind thing that you've had going on, right? Your unique perspective, and it is unique, is what sets you apart from everybody else. And you've actually got nothing to fear at all, because the universe is going to come in with something really rather beautiful for you. And it feels like opportunity, for sure. And it feels like being pushed off a little off the path that you were already kind of thinking that you were going to go down anyway. It's like maybe you get onto the path, but then you've got to kind of veer off in a little direction. Because the universe wants something from you here. What about this Wheel of Fortune? Give me a clue. A clue to the Wheel of Fortune, please. Fucking cards flying everywhere, but we've got two. We've got the Sun. We love that card. It's a card of Leo in the Major Arcana, but it talks about its real positivity, its vulnerability, its openness, right? It's joy. And we've got the Ace of Cups. That's now, what, three aces that you've got. What did I have fall down here? Ooh. We've got the Emperor as well. That's Aries energy. I think it indicates that actually you have a plan. You know what you're doing. Just get on with it. Just get on with it. Don't worry about being seen. Don't worry that it's a little odd, because it's actually not. And I think because this is something that's very familiar to you. You know what you're concerned about is the way that other people will perceive it. And like, I just think your tribe is going to respond to it really, really well. It's going to call them in. You've really got nothing to worry about. Right, I'm going over to Vimeo now. I'm going to pull this apart a little bit, but I really, really like this for you. It absolutely explains why I was feeling so like wiggly right at the beginning of the reading. So if you want to come over here, over there, and we'll kind of have a deeper look into this. 3 fucking aces, Wheel of Fortune, the Fool, and the World. You're on the right path, Gemini. You're absolutely on the right path. Yeah, if you want to come and join me over there, the link is in the description box. If not, don't worry. Just get your head down and get on with what you're doing, because it's really, really important. You know, you've got universal support for what you're on with here, and that can only be a good thing. So know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.